Tea time with Runepest.
Hey, Tempest.
Hello, Rune.
It's our first podcast.
Yeah, maybe the last one. We'll see.
It might be. We'll see.
I also am prepared. I see. This is my preparation. So let's start with it. How are you, Rune?
I'm great.
Okay, cool.
And you?
Yeah, we'll see.
You drinking some tea today? That's the most important question.
Specifically prepared tea for this.
Good.
It's cold. I made it like an hour ago. So
I made a whole pot of white peony tea just for you, because you're a flower.
I have no idea what that means, but okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, no, it's one of my favorite teas. It's a good sweet, very easy to drink tea. All right, so we're here today at our first podcast, and we're here because people asked for this. I don't know why they asked for it, but they did.
As a joke, though, as a joke.
Maybe so, but we have to give the people what they want. That's the rule of Runepest, right? And so here we are, giving the people what they want. And so I thought it would be neat to start off not by talking about Mythgard, but by talking about card game history. Where, Tempest, did you fall in love with card games, and what's your card game journey been up until this point?
That's like I played. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say like I don't know, at least 50 card games. So I obviously from paper card games, right? I don't know. I played with Pokemon card game, Magic, Lord of the Rings, some kind of weird Star Wars game where you like throw dice.
Star Wars Destiny?
I don't know. You just kind of throw a bunch of dice, like 20 of them for attacks, and it's very skill based.
Yeah, sounds like it. Dice and skill always go together.
Yeah. And then when things started going online, I just kind of went from one game to another. I didn't really enjoy Hearthstone. I found it very interesting. So I kind of just tried one game, second, third, and it just kept going on. I kind of played Shadow Wars Duelist a bit more than all the others. They kind of seemed to, just play them for a week and then kind of stop. Mythgard was, I didn't really expect to play Mythgard. It was just like, well, I'll just try it. It looks cool, right? And then suddenly, wow, this is actually quite entertaining. Because I wasn't really having that much fun with the Magic Arena, so this was like a cool thing that came up out of nowhere.
Yeah, no, I wasn't really expecting to find a card game either, but it was a good time. I started playing card games for the first time, and I didn't really play it. When I was in fourth grade, I played Magic, right, when it pretty much came out. But I wasn't really interested in card games. I couldn't really, is 10 years old or whatever, didn't have money to invest in it. We played, I got beat like every game against my friend who had this red fire burn deck. I don't think we were playing it right. But my first game that I really started really liking card games was in high school. I played Star Wars Decipher, and that game was awesome. I remember spending $50 and like saving up to spend $50 on a card and, some sort of great Star Destroyer, whatever. And then the first game I really played competitively was the Lord of the Rings game that you mentioned. I think that was also by Decipher, if I remember right.
You actually played it.
Great. Such a high skill level game, right?
You played that game. I didn't know that.
Yeah, with the rings, and you got Frodo as the ring bearer, and then you could give it to Sam. And I love the Nazguls in that game. I don't remember if you remember who you like to play, and I also think I like to play.
I played all the expansions, so I know everything. You know the Nazgul? No. You know the Star Wars? Do you know those stormtroopers? Do you know them?
But no, there was like different decks, decks that you had to try to steal with the ring. So you had kind of got to set up your decks. And so I remember that was my first tournament I'd ever traveled to. Was for that game, and it was for some sort of Legolas promo that I got, and it was really neat.
You fell in love with Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, I know, right? But my real big entry into card games came after grad school. Came about 5-6 years ago with Star Wars: The Living Card Game, and that was the game where Like I went to Worlds and won multiple regionals and just really got invested in finding a game that I just fell in love with. I love that game. I still miss that
Hey,
game very
Rune, you don't need to brag that much. Come on.
deeply. Yes, I do. I love, and that was where my competitive edge got into it. And I hadn't found anything after that game went ended. Fantasy Flight Games has this horrible history of not knowing what to do with their properties after they create good games. And so I've been looking for a while for games. I didn't like Hearthstone, didn't really give Magic a chance. That game, too much randomness. Mythgard has just kind of hit it, right? It's a high skill based game, great community, quick games, hits the digital itch real well because I have a family. Yeah, it's exactly where I want to be right now. So very
Also,
happy with Mythgard.
I kind of specifically searched at certain points for cyberpunk games. I feel like that genre is not really really best. So I kind of just like cyberpunk, and it was kind of cool to see something in those lines.
So
Like yeah,
go ahead.
no, you go ahead.
I don't know the cyberpunk games. What do you mean by that?
The cyberpunk team, I mean, like you know, you have no idea what cyberpunk is.
No.
Oh my god. I don't know. I think we should stop this. Who am I talking to?
You're talking to me. You know I know nothing about pretty much anything. I don't write books like you do, and yeah, I just write a few sermons every once in a while. That's about all I can do. So, we've been casting a bunch of tournaments lately.
Yeah, a bunch.
Which I find a lot of fun, especially the ones where we can just talk about whatever, right? And kind of talk about gameplay, but as well when we want to. But something that we've seen really heavily in the last few tournaments, and I mean it's since the nerfs happened and the changes to the balance, Red Orange is clearly the only tier 1 deck in this game, head and shoulders in the tournament scene, at least above everything else.
Yeah, it does seem slightly above, like decks you can play secondly or third, like whatever. Yeah, it just seems like it's just a notch above.
And you said it really well on your stream yesterday. Like Red Orange can be anything. Like it can be aggro, it can be mid range, it can be control. It has board wipes, it has rush, it has every answer to every deck. It can beat Necro. Like it has everything you could ever want.
There's a good part of decks that can well, I mean, obviously it's a card game. Like yeah, everything can beat everything in a sense, but like the Red Orange has such a good win percentage against most of them, which is not really the case for certain matches. Like you can have a deck that can beat something, but like probably you'll beat it once in every 5 games or whatever. Just
yeah,
an example.
And I think we saw. If I remember, I was talking to Arrow about this. Arrow runs all the data. Had like a 75 win percentage last Friday in our tournament, and that's including like some of the losses were in mirror losses, right? And then also it had some sort of crazy win share percentage of like 25% in the Boneyard Shuffle, and that means like of all the games won, not in the games that it played, just all the games won total, 25% of them on RO player won.
What's your like
crazy
thought about that? Like I always find that percentage in card games a bit sketchy because like you can't really take into account the skill level of the players, and even though if they're like more skillful or less, if they make mistakes on like what happens, it's I don't know if it kind of provides any significant info. I mean, it's better than nothing, I guess. I just kind of always took it with a grain of salt. But yeah, I mean, like
yeah.
yeah, but it's true. Like the red orange, it's just like whenever you play against it, it's I always feel like it's a coin flip, which a bit rigged coin flip, like this giveaway we're doing today.
Just like that. I mean, I think that's the thing about red orange, right? It's just so forgiving. Like there's so many decks that me and you play, right? Where if you make a mistake, it might cost you the game, and you can kind of go back later and say, "This is what I did wrong."
Yeah,
Red
actually,
orange,
I
you can,
posted I'm not sure if that's gonna be on YouTube. Like a rainbow mono orange education. Did it out of boredom, obviously. And like I burned seal at one point, and I lost the game because of that. And like you like that mistake, that decision cost me the entire game. And I like whenever I play red orange. Well, I didn't not that much, but still, like it feels like it doesn't matter. None of those things matter.
and
But
that's to me, why high win percentage matters, right? I mean, yes, we've seen like players like Madoka, others that are really good. Like Madoka's win percentage with red orange at one point was 90 plus 90. He was 40-4, so whatever that is, right? But even lesser skilled players than like Madoka, they just can win with that deck because decision matters. They don't matter as much. Like you can make the wrong decision and still just steamroll.
yeah,
And
so
that's
they're very forgiving. Like most of the decks. Well, I guess most of the fun memeish decks are not forgiving at all.
and that poses the hard problem, right? How do you nerf a deck? How do you make changes to a deck that has everything, and that if you play it wrong, you still win because it has so many tools?
I actually thought about this. I kind of like what the devs did with yellow green. They did like slight adjustments, like just slight nerfs. So I kind of feel like certain slight nerfs can also be made to red orange. For example, let's say a trapezist is a top level card, right?
Right.
Why does it need to have 2 life?
It doesn't.
Also, can it not be a demon, for example, a demon carnage, so you can't really abuse it? Like, for example, you saw how Hell Stairway to Hades is so much more impactful in red, right? You can basically use it in almost everything on any card. While
Right.
opposite of that, you got Heaven and Back, which kind of sucks if you like compared to most orange cards, because most of the things you want on there are angels, and like there's certain other cards you don't really want there, like Mardikor, for example, you would kind of prefer on a desert, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So like I'm kind of hoping we will see just like slight adjustments, exactly like they did with yellow green. Because I don't hate playing against yellow green anymore. I still have that lingering feeling when I get matched up against yellow green. I go like green, but that's just like an echo of the past.
Right. Right.
I actually don't mind it so much. I'm like, okay, it's fine.
We'll talk about yellow green. I still think there's some nerfs that can come to yellow green that will make it a little bit better.
We're gonna bash red orange for 45 minutes.
No, we're not going to bash it for 45 minutes, but we do got. I think it
42, right?
red orange is a problem, and I also wanted to talk about after this is like, so what decks do we think are good against red orange? Because I want to help new players out, right? So we'll talk for a few minutes about red orange, about what we would change, and then I'd also want to hear what are you having success with against red orange as well. So,
I actually find that it's pretty the same, like whatever I play. I actually feel like I don't have any advantage playing any deck versus red orange. It all feels the same. It feels like a coin flip where you got like 40% chance of winning it or something like that. 35. That's how I feel.
that's
It's
pretty
sad.
bad.
I'm kind of aware that perhaps some people would like, oh, this deck is good versus red orange, and be like, oh yeah, let's try it. But I can't really, I can't really say anything.
Everybody just says just tell new players to play red orange.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, yeah, I feel like it's an issue because I don't know about you, but I've been IQ later in the days, often for ladder, right? And that means there's less players on. And so some nights, like I feel like I'm queuing into silver players and gold players more often than I'm queuing into mithril and champion players, just because of player decks and also because of time. And last week, like I think I looked at my like 30 game history, and like somewhere around 18 of those 30 of my last games were against red orange, and I just felt so bad for silver players because I know those silver players were also facing champion level RO players. And if I was a new player and I was like
That's a nice projection.
ladder,
Like I'm feeling bad for them, actually. I feel bad for myself.
I wouldn't want to play the game anymore. Like if I had like 3 champion RO matches in a row as a silver player, like that's not good to queue into.
I don't know if you checked the Mythgard on Steam. I kind of went through the reviews, and I've seen a bunch of them. These are kind of older reviews, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen a bunch of them, and they were like, it had like the exact same fault, but it wasn't against Red Orange. It was against Valks. So yeah, I mean, it makes sense that there are a lot of people that will just kind of face off a certain deck and just be kind of put off from the game.
Yeah.
And
So I think we're gonna see some changes to Red Orange. I have no idea what they're gonna be, but I think we will see some changes at the mid-season patch. I'm gonna say right now, I think Angel's gonna get the nerf. I've been saying it for a while. I know you don't want Angel to get the nerf. I think Angel's gonna get a nerf, and I think it's gonna get maybe it'll be like a 5-5.
I said before, like on countless times, I would be fine if the Angel nerf was to make it also a demon, so it can be played on Stairway to Hades, and that's about it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be strong. My guess is it's gonna be stronger than that.
The problem is everyone hates Angel, but like, okay, it's super powerful. It's way overpowered in Red Orange, but like in other Orange decks, you kind of need it.
You do.
So all the other decks are gonna get the bad stuff. PG-13.
And I think this is true. I think this is true. And I think this comes down to maybe a slight design problem with red. We'll get to that in a second. I think we're also going to see another orange card get nerfed. And they always start with orange. And I think that's because red is so much harder to nerf other than just getting rid of rush. I think Ready for Anything is going to get nerfed.
Really?
We've talked about this a little bit on Kryptik's chat. I think Ready for Anything is going to get nerfed because Ready for Anything with rush units is kind of bonkers. And that's another nerf that I think is wrong, but I understand why it kind of has been fueling red, orange in a bad way for new players. So what do you think about that one?
I don't see that happening, but okay. It's simply.
But at some point they have to go into red, right? The Rhinos have to go into red and say we have to make some changes to these red cards.
Yeah, that would be nice. It's like most of the highly impactful decks have red in it. So like we got green red is a super good deck. Red orange obviously. Yellow green OTK is pretty decent. You can even make like a strong purple red, right? Aggressive deck that can kind of even go for a late game. There's like a bunch of things you can do with red. It's it's insane. I actually think it's probably the most complete color in Mythgard.
It is, but it isn't. It's so yeah.
It also works well with.
If you take rush away from red, it's. I mean, it's hard to play red sometimes.
It's also kind of funny because we had a Wyvern which had like also rush, so we had all the rush minions in red. We're kind of funny. That was a good nerf though.
I think they're going to start with Stairway to Hades. That's going to be nerfed somehow. And I wonder how they're going to do it. Like, what do you do to Stairway to Hades to nerf it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I could like make a bunch of ideas, but I wasn't really thinking like they would. I wouldn't actively nerf Stairway to Hades. I would nerf. Keep saying burn. I would nerf other cards, as I said, like a Demon card, right? Stuff like that. So it kind of gets less use in red cards, for example. Like I don't know, Demon Minotaur or whatever. Like so Magmator and stuff like that. Like something which will make it less impactful. Basically, like passively nerfing it in a sense.
The problem with that is it just makes it not playable in mono colors, right?
Why should it be? I mean, Heaven and Beck is almost barely playable in mono orange. It's actually not really, but
I think they can easily stop it from getting frenzy permanently, right? And I wonder if there is a way to stop Stairway and Heaven so it doesn't work with Journey of Souls as well. Like I don't want to nerf Journey of Souls because I think Journey of Souls is just bad if you're not playing red. But Journey of Souls is so bonkers when you get these enchantments out and you start, things dying and they don't even enter into the graveyard. So I wonder if like Journey could maybe you do have to nerf Journey. Like Journey changes to where the card actually has to enter into the graveyard before you get a charge. I don't know.
I wouldn't really nerf any path except from I would probably give seasons a bit more health, and that's about it. I think like it's fine.
I don't know. I think they got to do something to red, and red is really hard for me to figure out how they nerf. Other than logic says just delete red.
Just
or
delete
no,
it.
TMF said it, but I don't think that's an option that the Rhinos are going to go with. So
yeah, that seems highly unlikely. I mean, I could be wrong. Just delete
yeah,
red.
I mean, or they could give it ephemeral, right? The minion comes back with ephemeral. I don't know. Both of those would be small changes, but I think it would matter. Then you can't like put something on Hades and put something on Heaven. That's the worst.
It is, but it's bit hard to pull off both of those enchantments in a game.
It's really not with RO. Like RO can make the game go forever with so much card draw though. Like it's really not that hard to pull off.
Yeah, but those are like 2 cards, right?
So then they win. I mean, and then they win because you can't ignore both of them, right? You can't play away from both of the enchantments unless they're right next to each other, which they almost never should be. So
I kind of feel like you're maybe looking at the wrong cards. I feel like certain stuff like Trapezis is more of an issue, and Wings, like Magmator and stuff like that. Like those minions, basically.
yeah, I mean, maybe Magmatar is a hard one to hit.
Either way, like they did I'm pretty satisfied with the previous nerf they did. The patch they did. So considering the balances, so I'm kind of really optimistic when when the new one hits. I think they really took a good approach by just like slightly nerfing.
It's hard to be optimistic though. Like I'm not when the Rhinos have tried to nerf RO so many times, right? And that's part of the problem. Like it's just so good together. There's so many pieces that like changing one thing or changing two things doesn't really get to the heart of the problem. And we've seen that. Like you nerf Parry and you make Parry almost unplayable and RO doesn't matter. It doesn't really affect it. Like there's just that's the difficulty. And the rush minions are the fuel. Like if you're going to go anywhere to like destroy the deck, it's probably the rush minions, but I don't think that's going to happen. Other than maybe making it a 2-1.
I drink my tea. I think I'll just pretend that I'm still drinking. It's like this, see?
I got a whole pot. You want some of mine?
Yeah, just email me.
Okay.
It's okay. Chat will never know I'm faking drinking tea. Ugh.
Never. And they're probably just surprised that you actually drink tea. So let's go and talk about like moving forward. So what do you think? Like if you're a new player, you see a lot of RO on ladder and you don't want to play RO. Like you don't want to play what you think is best. Like what would you encourage newer players to play if that's what they're seeing on ladder?
I kind of went for that. Like I don't feel like
there's got to be something that you think is better than others, though, right?
Okay, then you answer me. What deck do you think that does really well versus Aro? Because I don't know.
I mean, I think yellow blue, right, is pretty good against it. I think we saw that in
but so is red green, for example, right? Red green is also. I think it's probably the same power level against Aro as this one.
I would agree with both of those, yeah. And I think there was a reason that yellow blue just got banned in the tournament, right? In tournament, it's a little bit different. Like you bring yellow blue, and right, the red orange player is going to say, "Look, both of the colors that are probably, the worst against me, with all these, board wipes and things like that. I'm just going to ban it," and it just, steamrolled. But on ladder, I think yellow blue is a pretty good matchup, and there's a couple different yellow blues out there that you can run. you could run an artifact based one with some life gain and trying to get lots of mana, or you can run enchantments. I've seen both of those go really well. I think they're both very good shells. Those would be probably the color I would point you to. I know you like to play red green a lot, and you're a very successful red green player. So why is red green a good counter in your mind?
Well, it's fast for one. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of just generally a good deck. It's pretty aggressive. It's got pubs, so you can live tap. Pubs seem to be good. You got 7 ring that can win you the game. If red orange doesn't get really any good answer to big minions, then that can kind of steamroll. It just got a bunch of things, but it can all go wrong. It can all go so wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like any yellow decks seem to be somewhat fine. But again, it always feels like you're always at a disadvantage. I'm not sure.
You're always on the defensive. You are.
Since I hate Valks, I don't know how Valks do versus Red. I think they're probably. I'm guessing people who play Valks more will probably go like 50-50 or something. Not sure.
I don't know anymore. I think Valks. That's a good point too.
Can we get someone a Valk expert in chat to answer that?
I think Valks were really good against Red Orange. Like a good Valk player probably actually beat a good RO, and I think it's not a coincidence that we see Red Orange on ladder a lot more. That now we don't see Valks after the troll nerf. I think an unintended side effect of the troll nerf is now there's one less deck out there to keep RO in check. And so, why I didn't like troll at all, and I'm not upset with the troll nerf. A side effect of the troll nerf is now RO is even more prevalent and better than it was 2.5 weeks ago. And that's an unintended consequence that I really didn't think about at the time that I saw the troll nerf. And now I'm kind of like, maybe troll needs to go back, and maybe that we need to find another way of
no, just leave the troll. Forget about it. It's fine.
Logic wants troll to come back.
There's a good statement in chat, like by Lacaz, maybe crippling the card draw is a way to go for red orange, because red orange doesn't seem to run out of cards.
They never do.
But that would be kind of problematic, though, right? You would have to cripple a lot of cards.
It's so hard to. You have to get rid of, right? I mean, yeah, you can run panaceas, you can run uses, so they're fine. But you don't have to run those cards, right?
Rune, you appear to be exploding. Your camera is all over the place. It's like it took LSD.
I'm gonna refresh my camera. We're gonna have to work about this thing. I gotta go find it. It's like 7 years away.
This isn't actually a technical issue. It's all part of the program. So you can see our special effects team in work. Look, this is beautiful.
All right, so I'm gonna close it out. And then
go exactly. You look like a 80s music spot. We need to play some Aha or something.
We're gonna have to find something else because this happened before, and I don't know why it only happens with me in this program, but it does. It should be back now, Jackie. Yeah, it's hard to figure out what to do with RO. I've had a lot of success with YB. That's been one of my favorite decks to play lately, and I've had lots of success also in the last few days with orange green, but I haven't faced as much red orange. But I've been having lots of fun with orange green. So
I think if you want to just if you play against red orange, just kind of play whatever you like. You either if you don't want to really play against them, then just concede, or just play what you like, and it's try to not get frustrated. I have a good percentage, when playing versus red orange about not getting frustrated. It's like at least a 15% success rate. So it's kind of steadily growing. I'm aiming to raise it to, I think, about 18 at the end of the year. So that'll be nice.
All right, so let's move forward. the mid-season balance patch, by my estimation, should be coming in about 2-ish weeks, right? The set dropped on September 17th, if my day is right. And so that would put approximately mid to end November that we should see this bigger balance patch. Other than what we've talked about today, what other cards would you like to see the Rhinos look at?
Volition.
Volition. Volition is a good card. What can you do to it other than delete it?
At the very least, make it 2 yellow gems. That's like the most minor nerf I could think of. Like just at least do that so it can be like splashed and everything and kind of played with a bunch of other things. But I would kind of prefer if it was a bit like maybe I mean, I like 3 mana. I don't know, but still,
It's hard at 3 mana. Yeah, it's hard to imagine that that's the change they're going to do.
3 mana, 2 yellow gems, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's a card I think needs to get looked at pretty heavily.
There's also a possibility, just like if we're throwing ideas out, to kind of limit it, like a Freaky Sidecar, for example. It can't be used on minions that cost 5 or more, for example, just kind of throwing ideas out there. But in any case, I would be at least happy with two yellow gems, at least something. The card, like, insane.
Yeah. Any others that you would like to see looked at?
The Strigoi Pop. I don't really know how to nerf that card apart from making it unplayable, like a 1 attack, 2 life.
That's hard, yeah.
There's a thing like that. The Rhinos don't really do. There's only one case of it, if I'm not mistaken, in Mythgard, and it's Defy Death. So you have those cards that cost 0 mana or like less mana than they do cost gems. So like you could potentially, let's say, make a pop 2 red gems. I'm kind of surprised. You don't see that much more often. For example, Rune of Denial sucks, right?
Right.
So why is we kind of talked about this? So why isn't it like 0 mana?
Or why doesn't it draw a card or something, right? So like
0 mana, I don't know, 1 gem or whatever.
I think that might be too good. But
you could even make cards that cost like, I don't know, 8 gems, 0 mana, or I don't know, just kind of as an idea. Either way, we'll see.
So one of the cards I want to see changed, I would like to see Auto Magic Artillery go down to 6 health instead of 7. I don't like how this card survives 3 turns after being misanthropiaed, right? Because then you can still use it, 2 more times because it's going to go down to 4 than 1. I think altering that life to 6 will make a big difference to the artillery, which it's a really hard card to get rid of anyways. And so Misanthropia is kind of one of the prime ways of getting rid of that card. So I would like to see a small nerf from a 2/7 to a 2/6 on that card.
What do you think about Spirited Away not working on the tank?
Spirit Away? Is that what you said? I wish Spirit Away did work on it. I think, as I understand it, the Rhinos say it's working as intended. Like some of these wordings are a little bit different for us, and like
but the wording doesn't
simultaneously as they say it. So I think it doesn't transform first; it transforms simultaneously as it gets banished, as I understand it. But I'm not quite sure.
But the wording seems to indicate it transforms and then it gets.
So it could be read that way, right? Or it could also be read. The and could happen at the very same moment, and I think that's what the Rhinos are saying, that this and is simultaneous. not then. It's not transform an enemy minion and then shuffle it in, because there is no then. It happens at the exact same moment.
Then you should say it, and at the
So I mean,
exact
I
same
would be
moment.
okay. I would be okay if they changed Spirit Away and made it into a place where it wasn't simultaneous, and then it would work. I would be totally okay with that. But as I understand it, those things are simultaneous in the sense that they are, as it's coded. But I'm not. Don't quote me on that. I'm not positive, but that's how I've understood the argument that's happened so far.
It's still kind of funny. Like we were talking about red orange, and like there are a bunch of decks that have like almost nowhere or a really hard time dealing with the artillery. But like red orange, nah, just gonna seal it.
Seal it.
Cyan, Armageddon,
Cyan.
Giganto. Yeah,
I know.
whatever.
It just has so many answers. So many. And Seal just gets rid of them all, right? It's crazy. Another card I would like to see get the nerf is, I think, Patrol probably needs to be nerfed. Tyrannial Control either should cost 6.
What? I didn't hear.
The Patrol, the orange card that, it creates the other guards.
Oh my God! Stop with the orange nerfs. Oh.
This card is better than Chimera. There's 2 nerfs that I could see.
I'm gonna pretend I drink tea.
You could yeah, you could either
Any of
make
the
this
two,
cost
seriously.
6, or I would be okay is if they were forged, the guards only get Slayer 1. I get super annoyed with the fact that the 2 guards could take out something like a Sapo, right? A 2/2 that can swing into 4 that can kill an 8/8, or a Sea Dragon. Like, I can just play this Patrol. Both of my guards just takes down a Sea Dragon, and I'm still left with the middle 3/2 Zealot. So I would be
Yeah. It makes sense. I think we should also make the Eager Recruit cost 3 mana. If we do 4 damage when you draw a card, make the Angel kill only 1 minion. Seems fine.
You don't think Patrol's a problem?
No.
You don't think it's better than Chimera, which is a mythic that costs 1 more?
Everything's better than a Chimera. A Panacea is better than a Chimera. What's that argument?
I'm just saying, they occupy the same space of things. They
Chimera sucks. It's cognate level.
No.
Really.
Patrol.
I would rather play Dora than Chimera.
Patrol is a common that is way too strong for a common, especially when it's forged. I would happily see it change to Slayer 1. That's a small nerf, but I think it would make a big difference. Or I'd be okay with it going up to 6. Both of them would still be playable. They still would be great cards. And it's not like
we're gonna talk after the stream. I have grievances.
Grievances.
You just wait for festivals and you'll see.
Grievances. Yellow. I mean, this is the problem with orange. Orange is a utility color that has answers for everything as it is. Like, orange to me is one of the most well-balanced round colors. It's not overpowered, but if you give it to other colors, it's just such a good, support color. It has answers for everything.
But most of the dual colored decks aren't really that amazing that run like orange.
I think orange green is really good, and I just think I think orange red is really good, and I think orange yellow is pretty good. So I don't know if I agree with you.
I don't think.
I mean, you love orange. Like, orange is your favorite color. Like, you're mono orange. You can win like 75% with mono orange.
I'll still win the mono orange. Just keep nerfing orange. I'll show everyone.
Sorry to burst your bubble, but I think orange needs to be hit some more.
Mono orange will still be a thing, if I have anything to say about it.
And I also want to see Murmur cost 7. That's another nerf that I want to see happen. I think Murmur is too good at 6.
You know what? We should nerf Rune. We should nerf artifacts, all of them.
We've already done that. We've already done that.
We need to aim at artifacts. Like you can't have a Labyrinth being protected by singing stones. You need to aim at artifacts. That's what we need, right?
You don't want to see Murmur go to 7?
I'm pretty sure they won't nerf Murmur. I think they'll just kind of focus on like slight nerfs as they did so far, is specifically aimed at red orange, which means I guess orange will get nerfed.
I think Murmur to 7 is a slight nerf. You're still gonna play it. Like that's a slight nerf. That's not a big nerf.
Just you take a bit, and then you kind of don't have any more arms. It's a slippery slope, Rune. Slippery slope.
All right. Anyway, we have about 10 minutes left. Tempest. So, as we close, why don't we talk about give the people one deck that you're really enjoying playing currently?
Mono
I know
purple
you play
rainbow.
like
Mono orange rainbow.
Mono orange rainbow. Why do you like mono orange rainbow so much right now? And what do you run in it?
What do I run in it? Should I like tell my entire deck now?
No. Just give a few cards that you think are really good that make the deck run.
Well, obviously Angel. Plateau is pretty important for late game value. Triennial Patrols, because all the other more expensive stuff kind of is bad. So no Crucials, no Gale, no Mardikors, no Worms.
You're not running any Mardikor.
Actually, I do run Mardikors. What am I saying?
I was pretty sure you ran Mardikors.
Yeah, 3 Mardikors. But they don't really feel that great. I feel they are kind of slightly weak. But I'm guessing no one's gonna buff Mardikors to do 3 damage, right?
I don't think so. I mean, I think Mardikor is a pretty good spot. It's not a great card, but it's a good card, right? I'm pretty happy.
I do like the Ghoul, the Trickster. There's like a bunch of things. Ifrit kind of seems to be fine with Rainbow, obviously. The Caravan can do. Yeah, I mean, I like. Let's. I think Eject is gonna post that deck on YouTube. We'll see. Could be fake news.
Yeah.
I did like an hour of educational my thought process behind playing it. If anyone's interested.
And I always enjoy watching. And the thing I like about that deck, and I think I like about Orange too, why it works so well, is Orange has so much like divination, right? So you're able to draw cards more reasonably with Rainbow, with all the div that you can have.
Yeah.
And one of the cards I want to see them buff, right, in Orange. Like I don't just want them to take the nerf hammer to Orange. I want to see them buff, particularly Null Seeker. I think Null Seeker is just a really bad card, right? It doesn't really do anything that helps Orange or Zealots. It's this weird Zealot that doesn't synergize at all with Zealots, and doesn't really help mono Orange, which is what both Zealots and Dibs seem to want to go with. And so it's in this really weird place that I don't feel like it has a home for what it is. And so
Actually, I just wanted to add, like, I think like 2 sleeper cards that are kind of really impactful in mono orange are Raziel and Treasury of Petra. Raziel, obviously, everyone's like, okay, divination to draw cards, but I think the threat it makes with that text, the threat of the ultimate, can kind of really sway the game a bit. It's I think it's a hidden threat though, and also Treasury though.
And you are the best Treasury player, I think, that we've seen. And
I'm the only Treasury player.
I've always been high on Treasury. I think that card is really good. I think it's one of the best draws out there, just because it's so versatile, especially when you have really cheap things that you can put on it. But yeah, I'm a big fan of that card, and you have shown, I think, really well how it can be utilized. And I'm actually going to be, submitting, I think, for plays of the month next month, a mono orange play with Rainbow with Treasury, and what crazy things it can do with Danger Zone too. And I think Danger Zone is a really good card that needs to find more home too in some orange decks. That card's a lot of fun. So I've been having lots of fun the last few days playing green orange. I've been
The
very
Ready for
successful.
Anything one.
I've actually really had a fun time with Ready for Anything and Born Agains and some other cards like that and Vedmas. Last night I was actually pulled off. I Ready for Anything the same Born Again 4 times, and so it was a 6/5 recurring minion with warded 2, with warded and
Seems nice.
yeah, it was just amazing.
I'll be honest. I kind of grew a appreciation for the Vedma Sky Ranger after you submitted that deck.
Vedma is really, really strong, and the fact that it has Lurker, it's not the easiest thing to take off the board, especially even if it just has one extra,
Sky Ranger.
life, or
What
if
are
you
we
can
talking
give
about?
it 2 life.
Lurker?
I'm a big fan of Vedma.
What do you mean Lurker? It doesn't have Lurker, does it? The Agile Rush, 2 gems.
Vedma let me look it up right here.
What Lurker?
Right? Vedma has Lurker, right?
I don't think so, but
I can't look at Vedma because it has that stupid. Yeah, Vedma has Lurker. Vedma Sky Ranger is Lurker.
didn't notice
3/2 Witch, 2 green gems to give it Agile and Rush. So
Don't
it's
even
hard
know
to
it.
get it off the table because it has Lurker, and you can play. You can make a trade with Ready for Anything, and then your opponent has a more difficult time of getting it off the table. So yes, everybody's in their chat. So that's what I really like about Vedma, the fact that
Cool.
it does
Never
have
noticed
Lurker.
that.
And then
You
you
went
can
you
also,
went full disco again.
yeah. Oh man, this thing.
It works
All
now.
right. We only have a few more minutes, Tempest. Anything else you want to share with the people? I know you have a good old trivia tonight. You got to win some money and show off your music knowledge. Anything else you want to say that you want to see in Mythgard, either in the Balance Pass or whatever that's coming forward?
No, not really.
Yeah.
I think I kind of went through it.
I'm hoping that we start seeing, in the next, month or so, some more art, some more spoilers, even like maybe a spoiler or two, or just something else that gives us a little bit of knowledge about the expansion. I think we're like, my feeling we're like 2 or 3 expansions away from this game just being like absolutely amazing. Has so much versatility as it is, but you give more cards, more tools, you keep expanding different options. Like we've seen, like zealots are now playable in a way that they weren't before. Other decks we've seen expanded. I'm excited to see some of the sub themes become more playable and fun to play with, and so I'm really looking forward to the next year to see how Rhinos are able to really grow this game. So
I mean, we were talking a bunch about the patches, nerfs, blah blah blah, but like, there's always gonna be those issues. Like, there's no way everyone's gonna agree. Everyone's always gonna have some issues. It's impossible to make a card game where everyone's like, okay, this doesn't require anything. But
no,
I guess the most important thing for me would be, which I would really like for it to happen, is that we get a larger player base so that Mythgard can grow.
and I think we're getting there. Like
That's-
I've seen more players playing lately, right? Lots more lots more level 16 through 30 players on ladder, like moving their way up to gold. Some of you have been hitting mithril. We're seeing our tournaments getting more full with new players.
Yeah.
So I think we're getting there. And I think with each expansion, this game will grow. And I know I think the Rhinos are really invested into making this as polished as they can. So
hopefully it kind of continues on that course.
I
Would be
think I have faith that it will. And I love this game. So I'm going to do everything I can. Hopefully things like this help as well. And that's what I want to do. So
no tea, Rune, no tea.
I think Tempest and I are going to try to do this like every 2 weeks or so. If people want it more, you can always ask, and maybe we can figure it out. If something crazy comes out in Mythgard, me and Tempest are always around. We're streaming. we can easily jump on and do some sort of emergency tea time. That would be fine. I might have to send Tempest some more tea so that he can actually have more than just one cup.
Doesn't
But
have tea. Doesn't even have tea on tea time. Oh my god.
we can figure that one out.
Sad life.
And I think I'm going to try to introduce you to some new teas over the course of this tea time, like something other than just Earl Grey. You need to expand your repertoire into some good green and white teas and some oolongs as well. So, yeah, we need some emergency tea time. I agree. I think we're gonna have a giveaway, and then I think you have to go because you got to go win your trivia. But thank you, Tempest, for all your thoughts and everything you do, and all the 8-hour streams that you do. It's always a fun to be part of. Much.
Yeah. So skip. I didn't get that feeling when you were complaining to me yesterday.
Oh yeah, yesterday I was in a complaining mood.
Oh, okay.
You know, it happens. The Cleveland Browns lost to the Las Vegas Raiders 16-6. It was the most ugly football game I've ever had to watch in my life, and I've watched a lot of Cleveland Browns play, and they're awful, and they've always been awful. But that probably was about the worst I've ever seen the Cleveland Browns play. And so, you know, if I took it out on you in chat, is my frustrations with the Cleveland Browns. So.
I'm yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I will see you later, and thank you again, and have fun at your trivia.
Okay. Bye.